You are expected to be this team's ace or 1A along with Max Fried. You can't let this happen. He pitched well otherwise, and he looked strong otherwise, but that was the game because the Yankees weren't scoring much. So you can't let things like this get away from you.
You are Locked On Yankees, your daily New York Yankees podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Yankees, which is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thank you for making us your first listen every day. I'm Stacey Gotsoulias. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $250 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. With me, as usual, my co-host, Brian McKeon. Brian.
Stacey, lots of news to break down.
Yeah. I wonder if the Yankees have thawed out yet from Monday's game, because it was brutal watching that game for many reasons, and we'll discuss it. Before we get started, don't forget, subscribe to Locked On Yankees on whichever podcasting platform you prefer. Subscribe to our channel on YouTube, like our videos, and hit the bell so you're notified whenever our videos go live. On today's show, we'll preview Game 2 against those pesky Detroit Tigers. We're going to discuss Vlad Jr.'s monumental extension that was agreed to late on Sunday night into Monday morning. But first, baby, it was cold outside, and it was cold watching that game.
Yeah, I mean, frigid in Detroit. They didn't consider it a snow game. Still classified the last snow game the Yankees had played was opening day 1996. They would not classify it as a snow game. But yeah, freezing cold temperatures, hard temperatures to play baseball in, to grip the ball. You could see it throughout the game. Generally, I get on baseball players because I think that they overdo it with the cold gear. You see a lot of guys that, it's like 60 degrees outside and they've got the full-on face mask and everything, and it's, all right, dude. Like, I get it. It's a fashion statement. But this game, it felt warranted. A lot of really, really, really cold temperatures out there in Detroit.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty funny when Aaron Judge first came up for his first at-bat. He had that ninja hoodie on literally to his nose, which I'd never really seen from him before. So I thought that was pretty funny. But, they had the heaters in the dugout. You could tell how cold it was. Some guys didn't have that. Carlos Rodon had his full arms out. Ben Rice didn't have anything on. Like, some of the guys were just like, and other guys looked like they'd never been in cold weather in their life, which is possible. If you grow up in California, you don't get used to the cold. Even if you travel through cold places, you are a warm-blooded person. So I'll give the California guys some slack.
Rodon does fit that mold, though.
Oh yeah, he's from Indiana. He hunts.
Yeah, like
he
sleeps
fits out in the
outdoorsy.
Woods. Yeah. Like he'll sleep out in the woods for weeks hunting. So he's definitely one of those guys where like Bellinger and Judge, and then you have the guys from all the different islands. They're of course bundled up. Jazz was bundled up. Cabrera's bundled up. I don't blame them. Volpe though. Volpe.
Yeah, you're a Jersey kid. Come on.
Come on. All right, let's go into Rodon's performance because if you look at some of the numbers, right? So 6 innings, great. He pitched into the 7th, couldn't get an out in the 7th. They had to take him out, but at least he lasted that long, right? So that was good. 8 strikeouts, great. Only 3 walks, also great. But when you look at the walks, and then you look at the 6 runs, 5 earned, 4 hits, the 1 home run, and at first he had only given up 2 hits, and both of them accounted for all the runs that he had given up in the game, which was annoying. He got completely hosed on a no-strike call, and it led to the 3-run home run. But this is my issue. You're a grown man. Get annoyed, right? You have every right to get annoyed, but you need to calm yourself down, and you can't let things get out of hand. And he let things get out of hand, and that allowed that 3-run home run to happen. Completely missed his spot on that pitch to Ibanez. He admitted it after the game. But you are expected to be this team's ace or 1A along with Max Fried. You can't let this happen. He pitched well otherwise, and he looked strong otherwise. But that was the game because the Yankees weren't scoring much. So you can't let things like this get away from you.
It was a classic Carlos Rodon start from start to finish. It really was. Throughout, I want to say 95% of the start, barring 2 or 3 pitches, he was fantastic. He really was. I mean, the fastball was alive today. The slider was really good. His curveball was even on today too, which that's usually the pitch he doesn't usually have. Had that, he looked fantastic. He had Carlos Rodon stuff, but he missed on the he didn't miss on the walk. We'll get into that in a second.
Yeah.
He missed on the home run ball clearly to Ibanez. I mean, he admitted after the game, like you said. And he's a mental pitcher. He is. He gets in his own head. And when things don't go his way out there, you saw it in the playoffs last year. It's a thing with him. When things are going good, he can cruise for 7 or 8 innings. But when one little hiccup happens, he goes haywire, and it affects the outcome of the game. Unfortunately for him, the missed strike call.
Yeah,
we get at the umpires all the time, officials all the time, and this is why we do it. And this is why we do it in all of sports. Because you're seeing it in what I think, quite frankly, is the worst officiating in all of sports. In college basketball, if you watch the tournament, the officials change games. They do. I'm sorry. And I don't want to hear the people that sit there and tell me that they don't change it, they don't affect it, win the game anyway. No, that pitch changed the game. It did. It put another runner on. It allowed Carlos Rodon to spiral. It's not just the walk and the one runner that goes on. It moves the base runner into scoring position. It puts more men on base. It allows him to grip the baseball tighter. It creates a different thing out there that Carlos Rodon doesn't pitch well during. So I don't want to hear the excuse that officials don't change the game. They do. And what bothers me most about the baseball umpire, Stacey, is the arrogance they have. They don't want to admit they're wrong with a call, ever. They always think they are the most right guys, and you saw it in the game because catchers are starting to do this because clearly we're ready for ABS.
Oh, yeah, people are tapping their
People are tapping their head when a call is very obvious.
Batters are doing it too, which is even funnier.
Yes, and Austin Wells did it after the bad strike call to Rodon, and Rodon was tapping his head on the mound too, and the umpire warned both of them and said, one more time and you're out of the game.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. The umpire, I don't know who was behind the plate, so I apologize. Okay. He could not have been more wrong with that call. He was so unbelievably off with that call. And he was off all game, but he was unbelievably off with that call.
Yeah, like
it was very obviously strike 3.
Yeah, both teams had legitimate complaints, but the Yankees had a good complaint there.
Especially on that one, because that one changed the game. And that's 3 runs right there. The Yankees, could have very easily been in that game. It changes the way you handle the bullpen. It changes the whole course of the rest of that game. The arrogance on that, just like the arrogance on the Javi Baez stolen base attempt, where Volpe clearly tagged him out, and the umpire called him safe because he saw a cool swim move. Right. But he was still out. He was still out. And Volpe pleads with the umpire, and the umpire adamantly, no, safe, clearly safe. You watch the replay seconds later. It couldn't have been more obvious that he was out. Right. But then they go to replay and the call is returned and the umpire doesn't do anything about it. Doesn't say anything. The arrogance has to change. And clearly the umpires are going to vote against ABS. I don't think they really have much vote, to be honest with you anyway. But they're going to go against ABS. That's going to be a storyline in the offseason. I think every player is going to vote for it because quite frankly, they're sick of it. And Aaron Boone is sick of it. And we're the first ones to tell you there are plenty of moments where Aaron Boone goes at the umpires and it's not justified. Here it was.
It's funny you said that because remember a couple of weeks ago we were talking about ABS and Aaron Boone was kind of like, maybe, really? Because after a few games of this, because this is going to happen more times, you're going to have, like a low strike call to Aaron Judge in a big spot because that always seems to happen. Boone will be ejected, but I think that after a full spring training with ABS and then realizing, things might actually be better if we have it during the regular season, he's going to change his mind on it.
Yeah, officials change the game. They just do. And it's a problem. Ben Rice, the 472nd leadoff hitter the Yankees have had this season, or at least what it feels like.
Well, it's been Wells, right? Goldschmidt, more than a few times.
Yeah.
Rice. And I think those are the 3 that they're right.
Yeah, I'm using hyperbole. My point is they played what, 10 games?
10 games.
That's where it kind of aggravates me.
And it's funny that Goldschmidt's been the one the most at
who's the least likely that you would ever think would be a leadoff hitter, but whatever.
Yeah.
Ben Rice looked good though. Again, hit the cover off the ball again, got picked off at third base, which is kind of hard to do. Doesn't happen very often at all. That was a little aggravating.
Yeah, he admitted that was his bad. He just said that was poor base running because Boone said, the contact play wasn't on. So, but he said he didn't really throw Ben Rice under the bus. Like he was like, he was good about it. And then Ben Rice was like, yeah, my bad. I made a mistake. Won't do it. It won't happen again. I mean, it is kind of good now because now he'll know when he's on third after a triple, another one, maybe, because he's hitting the ball so well. That was a great hit because Mize was really good.
Great.
And
yeah, he showed why he was a top 5 pick.
Yeah. Judge got an RBI single to get them on the board. He now has 1,039 career hits. It ties him with Tino Martinez for 40th in franchise history. It was also his 734th career RBI, which passes Elston Howard for sole possession of 21st in Yankees history. And guess who's next? Tino Martinez at 739.
It's crazy to think if Judge were one of those guys that came up at like 21, 22 years old and he was like ready for the major leagues, how much higher on the list that he'd have to be. It's crazy because he's not going to hit 3,000 hits more than likely. He's not going to get 2,000 RBIs, but I mean, it's crazy to think how close he could have got to those numbers.
Very quickly, I have to say, Adam Ottavino and Tim Hill did a solid job in relief of Rodon. Like they
Especially
kept it.
Tim Hill.
Yeah, kept it at 6. Didn't go any further than that. And another quick thing. What was with Jazz Chisholm today? He was having some issues in the field. After we praised him on the show yesterday and talked about how great he's been defensively. No, I will attribute it to the cold. I think it was just a blip. Mm-hmm. He'll be fine.
The error that he had was a lazy throw. You could tell he didn't really step into it. I think it just had to do with the cold weather, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Don't forget, subscribe to the channel, hit the like button on our videos, hit the notification so you know when our videos go up. You can also join the Locked On Yankees Insiders Club. The link is in the description. You'll get text from us. You can text us questions, comments, reactions to trades and signings. We send out the lineups during the season, roster moves, and breaking news so you don't have to check social media. There's a 14-day free trial. By the way, Adam Ottavino was re-signed after they sent Brett Hedrick back down to the minors. So
his third stint with the Yankees.
Yeah. So just in case you guys were wondering about that. Coming up next, Vlad Guerrero Jr. is a Blue Jay for life. We'll discuss that massive extension that he got, and we'll reveal what we actually think about it.
The NBA playoffs are almost here, and FanDuel is giving new customers an incredible way to get in on the action. Because right now, new customers can get $250 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. That's $250 extra bucks to use on everything from buzzer beaters to props and everything in between. Those Knicks are getting going in the playoffs, and that's going to be a lot of fun. We'll see how far they can get with this regime. And I've got an eye on a few futures all postseason long with series bets, and FanDuel makes it easy to back them with spreads, totals, and game props, everything involved. And the FanDuel app, it's easy and simple to use. When I win, I get paid out instantly, and there's no waiting around. So don't miss out on this opportunity. Visit FanDuel.com and claim your $250 in bonus bets today. And thanks again for making Locked On Yankees your first listen. Remember that every Friday it's Fan Mail Friday. You can leave questions underneath the pin, comment on our videos Monday through Thursday, or you can join the Locked On Yankees Insiders Club. Those guys get top priority during Fan Mail Friday. The link is in our description. So, Stacey, you brought it up during the end of the last segment, and I woke up at 4 o'clock in the morning, turned over, looked at my cell phone really quickly, and wound up waking up about 2 hours later to get ready for work and thought, did I dream that Vlad Guerrero signed his extension 2 weeks into the season? I didn't dream it. It was real.
I found out because I finished editing the show for Monday, and I clicked over from the Locked On Yankees YouTube account to my regular YouTube account, and Locked On Blue Jays showed up as a live stream. And I'm like, it's like 12:40 at night. What is, and I looked and I thought, oh my, what? And I clicked on it, and there were 3 of them on, because I know there are 2 guys on the show normally, but there were 3 of them on at like 12:40 at night talking about Vlad Guerrero Jr. And then I, looked on Google to see all the details of everything because it wasn't in the title. And yeah, good for him. 14 years, $500 million. And what was the other thing? What's the other thing with the deal?
He didn't get the 600 that he was looking for,
which we all knew that he wasn't getting 6. He's not worth 600 million. Sorry, Vlad, but you're not worth $600 million.
You're worth $500 million instead. Sorry.
Yeah. Sorry.
I did find this alarming. Case in point, this. Why not wait for the Mets in the offseason? That, to me, didn't make a lot of sense. Why not wait to see what the Mets were going to do and get them bidding on you? I guess the Dodgers not being a possibility because of Freeman being at first base makes it a little different. But Stacey, I don't see the point in signing this contract in April. I don't get it from Vlad's perspective. You held out throughout spring training. Until you got the deal. You didn't get the deal that you wanted because they weren't going to go to $600 million. And then a week and a half into the season, you decided the market changed that much that you're going to sign a deal immediately. Why? At this point, it seemed like Vlad had already decided that he was going to bank on himself and see how he did this season and see if he'd wind up getting his payday. You got to think if the 14 years and $500 million was available right now, it would have been available likely in the offseason, right? Barring an injury. Why would this have not been available in the offseason? So I don't get this deal very much. Not that I don't get the deal. I get it from a Blue Jay perspective. Keep your star there. I totally understand that. I don't get it from a Vlad perspective. And what I don't get most is the timing of it.
Yeah, it is really strange. What I was trying to remember was when Jeff Passan put out his tweet at 12:20 a.m. on Sunday into Monday morning, a monumental no deferral deal to keep the homegrown star in Toronto for the rest of his life.
Well, it's not a wild AAV, to be honest with you. It's $35.7 million per year, which for a player like Vlad Guerrero is worth it. That's a very valuable salary for a player like that, especially with the luxury tax continuously going up. That's a good number. I'm sorry, that's $7 million less than what Judge gets. I mean, Ohtani, that's $40 million less than Ohtani. I mean, it's not a bad AAV remotely. So I don't think it's a bad deal for Toronto at all. I think this is a deal that both the player and the team come away with that, no, this is fair. We like this deal. So I'm not going to disagree with it on that end. Again, I just don't understand the timing of it. I don't know why, if you're Vlad, why not sign it last offseason? This number has been floated around before the $500 million. So it's not like this number hasn't been offered to him prior. Again, Stacey, I understand the deal. I just don't get why now.
Maybe he was afraid of what was going to happen to the world's economy.
Yeah,
Kidding. I'm just kidding. People were joking about that because of the timing and because of stuff that's happening. Obviously, we're not going to get into that, but it's just a joke that people were saying on Blue Sky, where they're like, "Oh, maybe he."
Yeah, but when it's no, I get it, and I think we do see stuff like that because there are players that admit nowadays that in all sports that they sign in Tennessee and Florida and Texas and Nevada and stuff because of no state tax. So players are more aware of the economy when it comes to their decisions than they've ever been before. Right. I just think when you come with this kind of money and it's $500 million, you'd be kind of weird to be like, oh, well, the stock market's going to crash, so I don't know if I'm going to get my bag now. Like it just, no, I just, the timing seemed peculiar, especially because going into next offseason, who are the other big names that are going to be available next offseason? And I'm sure there are a few. It's Kyle Tucker. That's the only other one that really comes to mind where people are going to be spending big amounts of money on. So, and Vlad is, I think Kyle Tucker's a better all-around overall player than Vlad, but Vlad's right up there with him when it comes to numbers that Vlad puts up. So if you're Vlad, why not wait and have teams bid on you? Again, the Dodgers weren't going to be involved. I think from every sense of the of everything involved, I don't think the Yankees were ever going to be interested in Vlad Guerrero Jr. I think they would have poked the waters, but I think the Mets would have been interested.
I think so too. I'm actually shocked by that. This is what I thought was going to happen. I thought he was going to go into free agency, and I thought the Mets were going to scoop him up, have him.
I thought it was going to be a bidding war.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I thought that might have been what got him over the $600 million plateau, is because when you get into a bidding war and the Mets are willing to pay whatever it takes, then that's what's going to get that deal done. One thing this does do from a Met perspective, even though this is Locked On Yankees, it is worth being announced because this is going to raise the market drastically for Pete Alonso, a guy that we talked about throughout a lot of the offseason, Stacey, was struggling to get a deal and finally got that 3-year deal with the opt-outs all over it and everything like that. This makes Pete Alonso's market way larger. If he's going to be hitting with Juan Soto in front of him in that lineup, he's going to have an opportunity for a lot of RBIs this year and a lot of home runs. Stacey, this Vlad Guerrero Jr. deal could wind up becoming very lucrative for Pete Alonso because the Mets are going to feel like if Vlad Guerrero's not available anymore, the Mets are all of a sudden going to feel like we need to scoop up Pete Alonso and keep him here for longer than we anticipated. So that is an interesting perspective coming out of this. Again, I get the deal. I get it from both sides, from a Blue Jay perspective and from a Vlad perspective. It makes a lot of sense. I just don't get the timing of it. That's the only thing. But, good for Vlad. He got his money. And now it's going to be a Kyle Tucker sweepstakes in the offseason.
How do you think this deal is going to work out?
How old is Vlad right now? He's like 26, 27 years old. It takes him to age 39 season, I believe. Or 40 season.
That's crazy.
I think it'll half work out. I think that first half of that deal, you'll feel, wow, this deal is really worth it. And I think towards the back end, I don't know if his style of play is he's going to become a full-time DH. That's the problem. I don't know if his style of play is going to age very gracefully at this number. But I do think the first half of this deal will work out. It just matters if the Blue Jays are going to be able to win or not. That's it.
Right. He just turned 26 last month. He was born March 16th, 1999.
Which is crazy, but pretty good deal for him then. It locks up in Toronto for the rest of his career.
Yep.
And he'll probably go down as the greatest offensive Blue Jay of all time.
Yeah. Yeah. So I wonder what this means for Bo Bichette. That'll be interesting.
I feel like it means all these guys stay. Yeah. I feel like this means Blue Jays are going to stay we talked about it earlier. It was either rebuild and trade everyone or go all in. And I feel like now this means you're all in. When you spend $500 million on a player, that's not a rebuilding team.
Yeah, no, that means they're going to be doing more.
Yep.
All right. Coming up, we preview game 2 of the series in Detroit, in a very cold Detroit against the Tigers next.
When it comes to fueling your body, quality matters. And that's why Just Ingredients is changing the game with clean, high-quality products designed to support better health and peak performance. Just Ingredients offers an NSF-certified line of protein powder, electrolytes, pre-workout, and creatine. It's all rigorously tested to ensure they're free from substances banned by major athletic organizations. Just Ingredients is also partnered with 2-time MVP Bryce Harper. He trusts their NSF-certified sports line to fuel his training and recovery. I got to mention, too, because they sent me a package. And the taste, the flavor, you don't even know that you're taking protein powder out there. It's that good, that effective. And I'm pretty sure me and Bryce Harper are benching just about the same at this point now. So take my word for it. I love that Just Ingredients prioritizes wholesome, nourishing ingredients without the artificial junk. And whether you're recovering after a workout or need an energy boost, their grass-fed whey protein and pre-workout deliver real results. So just visit justingredients.com and use code LOCKEDONMLB for 20% off your order. And for more wellness tips, follow at just.ingredients on Instagram. Not only do we cover your team every day, but now we're giving you the instant episodes after every single game. You can check out the Locked On Yankees postcast right here on the Locked On Yankees podcast feed and our channel. Get rapid reaction to all the biggest moments with the Locked On Yankees postcast. So, Stacey, the Yankees made Casey Mize in game 1 of the series look like a top 5 pick in the draft. And now we're going to see a guy that's got that level of talent in Tarik Skubal in game 2. And we did mention this. Michael K brought it up at the end of the broadcast. And I think he probably got the idea from us because Michael K is a fan of Locked On Yankees. And I think he got the idea from us of what we said. This is a bad spot for the Yankees because game 2 is a Tarik Skubal is due kind of spot.
I mean, he is due at this point. Because he's 0-2 with a 5.91 ERA, which is un-Skubal-like. And this is not the same, but similar to Zach Gallen, who came into that game last week against the Yankees when the Diamondbacks were playing them. And it looked like, oh, okay, when you looked at the numbers, you thought, oh, all right, he's struggling out of the gate. And then he made the Yankees look absolutely awful at the plate. So I am seeing the same movie unfold on Tuesday.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough one. He's a great pitcher. Hopefully the cold weather can affect him. He'll go against Cookie Carrasco, who's getting his second start as a Yankee. He's 1-0 with a 7.36 ERA. And it's a pressure-mounted spot for Carrasco because with Clark Schmidt looming and pitching his butt off down in the minors, Carrasco's got to impress here because he's the next guy that's going to get that DFA notice if he doesn't pitch better. That's just a matter of fact at this point. He's the next guy out in the starting rotation. I don't like the Yankees' chances going into this game. I don't. No. Doesn't feel like a good spot. The times are all weird because they're not on schedule because they played a 3:00 game yesterday. They play a 1:00 game later on today. It's just a weird spot for them scheduling wise because of the cold weather. I don't think the Yankees are going to fare well in this spot.
Yeah. Then again, it could be one of those reverse lock situations where we think everything's going to be terrible and the Yankees actually do hit the ball. The reason for the delay, not the delay, the reason for the pushing up of the game, I was looking at the forecasts and it's 20s at night. So there's no way you can play when it's 25 degrees and the wind gusts are up to 20 miles an hour. That's just brutal. Like, you don't even want to play that in football. And so imagine doing that playing a baseball game. So they were smart to do that. I think it's good that Rodon lasted as long as he did and that Boone only used Hill and Ottavino because he's probably going to need more of the bullpen to pitch later today.
They actually talked about it a lot because of the bullpen usage they had in Pittsburgh, especially with the extra inning game, plus with Carrasco going later on yet the next day. The start Rodon gave them was huge. Just the length that he gave them, that was a big deal. And things like that don't go unnoticed when it comes to the team itself. So that was a big deal for the Yankees. I'd agree with that. It just feels like one of those spots where pitchers like to get off to good starts to start seasons, especially Skubal coming off of a Cy Young award year the year prior. Two bad starts to start the year. Those kind of things don't sit well with guys like this. They don't, right. Especially bulldog mentality guys who pitch this well generally. And especially against a team like the Yankees that strikes out a lot.
Yeah.
Bad spot.
Also, think of his last moment on the mound in the playoffs in 2024. Gives up that grand slam. And then he goes into 2025. You know, he probably goes in, even though he won the Cy Young, with a bit of a chip on his shoulder because you don't want your season to end. Like, you don't want to be the reason why your team is knocked out of the playoffs. Right? No. And for him to come out and, 5.91 isn't great, but it's not like he's 0-2 with a 12 ERA and he's been batted around. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not a Tarik Skubal start. So, yeah, I think things are in his favor later today against the Yankees. They like to swing. By the way, Jazz Chisholm is Joey Galloing all over the place because his strikeout rate is above 40 now. It's almost like strikeout or home run. That's all he's doing at this point.
Yeah, which is not great for a number 4 hitter, a number 4 through 6 hitter, because that's where Boone hits him. Can we change that actually when it comes to baseball? Instead of calling guys a cleanup hitter or a number 4 hitter, just say they're a number 4 through 7 hitter, a number 1 through 5 hitter, because that's what baseball's become now.
Yeah,
with changing spots in the lineup.
Right.
I sound like an old man crying right now, but I really, it does annoy me.
No, but when you think of the lineups that, especially Joe Torre, like he was very
consistent.
It was very consistent. You just knew that you were going to see certain guys at the top, the same guy in the 4 spot, pretty much every game. And even Joe Girardi, people made fun of him for it, but when you look at the 09 Yankees, it worked. I mean,
those guys won more than Boone.
Obviously, those guys, the 09 team was amazing. When you think about that infield, just the infield, but then you also think about who was in the outfield too. Like, it was just, like you could count on seeing certain guys in the same spot literally every night. Didn't matter about matchups, didn't really matter about other things because those lineups also had more variety. Plus, the Yankees had a lot of switch hitters back in the day.
And we've discussed it before, and I think there's a lot of credence to it. Baseball players are creatures of habit, and you have to, especially early on in a season like this, they like to come in knowing where they're hitting, knowing what spot in the lineup they're in, knowing who they're hitting behind or in front of. The only guy that consistently has that is Aaron Judge, where he knows where he is in the lineup and who's going to be hitting around him and stuff like that. It really, again, I know it's modern day baseball, but the analytics system lends itself to have people believe that no matter where a player hits in the rotation or where he hits in the lineup, he's going to produce the same numbers every single time. The same power numbers, the same swing path, the same everything. That's simply not true. It's just not. And if a guy like Carlos Rodon could be an example to the analytics department, baseball is also a very mental game. You can't predict sometimes that Carlos Rodon is going to go off the rails in a certain at-bat because an umpire makes a bad call, and numbers aren't going to tell you that. And just like numbers don't tell you that, sometimes a guy doesn't like starting off the game hitting. Sometimes he likes having a cushion of guys in front of him. Sometimes a guy likes seeing guys in the seeing pitches out of the batter's box first before jumping into the start of an inning. Numbers don't tell you those kind of things. And, there is an element to the analytical game that I think is a failure And it's that kind of stuff. It's the mental aspect of baseball and the comfort level and the security. And, numbers aren't going to tell you that. And you see it sometimes with the Yankees is I don't love the changing. And I get that things change here and there, but Stacey, it's every day there's a brand new lineup out. It's every single day. I don't understand it.
Yeah, poor Austin Wells, already demoted from the leadoff spot. He only got it once.
Weird.
It's so weird. Now he's pretty much consistently penciled in at 6, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Or 7. Actually, Volpe and him are either 6 or 7, depending on
why.
How. Yeah.
Exactly.
I don't know.
Don't get it.
I don't know. You know how some people, I don't know if anyone's ever told you this, but someone once said to me, I wish I could be in your brain for a day. To which I said, are you crazy? Why would you want to do that? But there are some days where I kind of wish I could be in Aaron Boone's brain and see what's happening there.
A lot.
Yeah.
A lot of weird stuff.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you guys for making Locked On Yankees your first listen today. For your second listen, check out the all-new Locked On MLB Game Night. Every game, every night, all season long. Get local analysis on a national scale. Find MLB Game Night on Locked On MLB on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcasts. So that'll do it for this edition of Locked On Yankees. I'm Stacey Gotsoulias.
And I'm Brian McKeon. We'll catch you tomorrow.